It's really scary. Others are not like Garp, they were shocked by the news that came from the generals in the first half of the Grand Line. If they remember correctly, only 2 hours have passed since they learned of the pirate riots in the first half of the Grand Line. In 2 hours, no less than 5,000 pirates were killed by that old gentleman. This speed is really amazing. At this time, Sakazuki opened his mouth and said, I think we should raise the bounty of that old gentleman a little bit more. It's just 1.5 billion Baileys that made the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line so crazy, it's all for it ready to move. Do you want to use that old gentleman's hand to weaken the pirates' strength? Sengoku asked Sakazuki. Yes. Sakazuki thought he was smart and nodded. It was only 2 hours that the old gentleman killed so many pirates. If this is to increase the bounty, I am afraid that the efficiency will be even faster. Don't be stupid, Sakazuki. Garp's voice rang from the meeting room, and Garp looked at Sakazuki like an idiot. Are you a fool when you think of that old gentleman? At this point, the bounty we offer to that old gentleman is increased. You think he won't notice it? If he gets angry because of this, he will directly kill the headquarter. Can you bear the consequences? So put away your little thoughts, Sakazuki. Sakazuki snorted coldly. I don't think there is anything wrong with this method, and even if the old man is really angry about it, he came to the headquarters. That's right, we can join hands to catch him. After all, he is also wanted by the government now. It can be said to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Garp laughed. It's stupid. We once destroyed most of our Marineford because of a golden lion. I joined forces with Sengoku to fight for a few days and nights before catching him. A more terrifying than golden lion, and can even hit the existence of Edward Buell, who severely inflicted Zephyr with a punch. You told me to join hands to catch him. Do you think how many people can catch him, or Sakazuki? You were confident. Can anyone catch him? If you have this confidence, that's fine. That old gentleman is now in the first half of the Grand Line. You take someone there, we will give it to you no matter how much force you are. Sakazuki was speechless by Garp's words, and just about to refute, Suru stood up. Okay. Don't make any noise. She turned to Sakazuki and said, Sakazuki, you want to wipe out the pirate's heart, I can understand, but Garp is right. It is indeed not a wise choice to raise the bounty for that old gentleman at this moment. Leave aside this old gentleman's own strength, just by his background. It is related to the 2 Four Emperors, and it is also related to the Revolutionary Army, the Sun Pirates and many other powerful forces. If the old gentleman is really offended, the consequences will be unimaginable. Then it may not be the old gentleman who will come to the headquarters alone. I'm afraid those guys will come. The consequences are not what our headquarters can bear. Even if we can contend with them, the final result will only be a severe injury to our headquarters. Hearing what the crane said, Sakazuki frowned, and immediately sat down without saying anything. Looking at Sakazuki, who was sitting down, Garp snorted coldly, Humph. Just your brain, you're an admiral. Don't say a few words, Garp, Crane scolded Garp. When Garp heard this, he didn't say much, picked up the senbei on the table and ate it alone. As for Suru, he looked at Sengoku and said, Sengoku, tell the various branches of the Grand Line, let them report their situation at any time. Yeah. Sengoku nodded, then gave the order. Grand Line. As Lin Wuya marched all the way, more and more pirates were killed. 30,000 pirates have died by now, and less than half a day passed. Although Lin Wuya did not do it himself, Enel was ordered by Lin Wuya, so to some extent, it was Lin Wuya who killed it. 30,000 pirates died, and those pirates on the Grand Line are also beginning to be afraid. Although the strength of the pirates killed was not very strong, this amazing number also made their hearts tremble. And this tremor caused many of them to start to retreat. Although the head of 1.5 billion Baileys is very tempting, but it also has to be fate. If they don't have this life, they will probably end up just like those 30,000 pirates who are waiting. Of course, this is only part of the pirates' minds, and some pirates still want to take a risk. And this part of the pirates are all pirates who are more confident in their own strength. They feel that the previous pirates were killed because they were not strong. If they do, they should be able to take Lin Wuya's head. Therefore, even if more than 30,000 pirates were killed, they still did not step back and continued to move forward. As for Lin Wuya, seeing that more than 30,000 pirates were slaughtered in a row, and some guys who were not afraid of death were coming to fetch his head, he also shook his head immediately. These guys really want money and don't die, but it doesn't matter. After killing so many, Lin Wuya didn't mind killing more. If you want to come, then come. When you come, let's go to accompany the more than 30,000 guys, anyway, they are also alone below. With this idea in mind, Lin Wuya continued to let Enel go to kill him during the next march. The number of pirates killed has also skyrocketed, from over 30,000 to 40,000 in 2 hours. Lasted 6 hours, 40,000 pirates died. With such a method, Lin Wuya is the only one since ancient times. Plus, in the first half of the Grand Line, the usual little jokes may not attract the attention of the big pirates in New World. But this incident, like what happened today, directly caused the New World, which was separated from the first half of the Grand Line by a red line, to boil directly. When I heard that 40,000 pirates were killed by Lin Wuya in just 6 hours. Even the big pirates who bounty over 500 million have grown up in shock for a while. 6 hours, over 40,000 pirates have been destroyed. What speed is this? It is possible to achieve this level. I am afraid that only the four emperors of New World who eat at the top can do it. Dressrosa. This is a city in New World. At the same time, it is also the place ruled by heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo. Although Doflamingo did not become 7 warlords of the sea because of Lin Wuya, he is still the master here. Except for the absence of the title Shichibukai, nothing else has changed from the original. In the palace, Doflamingo, wearing sunglasses and a pink coat, is sitting on the throne. At this moment, he is holding a newspaper in his hand. This newspaper was produced by the news magnate Morgans before, and now it is almost full of New World. The content of the news is naturally what happened in the first half of the Grand Line. 40,000 pirates were destroyed in just 6 hours. The dominant player is Lin Wuya, who disappeared after leaving Alabasta half a year ago. Killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours, it's amazing. Looking at the contents of the newspaper, Doflamingo laughed in a low voice. Dover. Shall we? Below, an old man holding a cane and covered in a sticky thing all over his body, said towards Doflamingo. The old man is named Toripal, one of the cadres of the Donji Heed family. Don't use it for now, Doflamingo said while looking at the newspaper. Before you know the specific strength of the opponent, don't pay attention to him for the time being. Understood. Dover. Toripal nodded, but. At this time, Doflamingo said again, but what? Dover. Toripal looked at Doflamingo. But. We don't take actions on the surface, but we can take some secretly. After all, if we want to know how strong this old guy really is, we can't just rely on the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line. So go to the underground world to post a bounty. Let those guys in the underground world have a try. As for the bounty to increase by 1 billion on the original basis. 2.5 billion Baileys. Okay, I'll do it now. Toripal left the palace after saying this. Sitting on the throne, Doflamingo said with a deep smile, Fufurfuru, Lin Wuya, I really want to see you. New World. Territory of 4 Emperors Shanks. As a red-haired Shanks, one of the 4 emperors, he also received this newspaper. When I saw the contents of the newspaper, the red-haired shocked mouths were all the older bosses. F*K. The teacher killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours? Since searching for the teacher half a year ago to no avail, Hongfa has returned to his territory with the pirates. However, although no teacher was found, Shanks did not give up. He knew that the teacher would definitely appear again, and in the past 6 months, he has been exploring news about the teacher. He will also read the daily newspapers one by one, trying to find some news about the teacher. Huang Tian lived up to his heart. After waiting for half a year, he finally let him wait for the teacher's news. But the news shocked Shanks. In 6 hours, the teacher actually killed 40,000 pirates. This is too scary. You must know that from becoming a pirate to today, he has not killed so many pirates. Even the entire group of pirates added together, and the number of pirates killed has not reached 40,000. On the side, Lakilu, who was gnawing on a large drumstick, was also holding the newspaper, but when he saw the content of the newspaper, the whole drumstick fell off. A big greasy mouth is even the older boss. Boss. Are you a teacher? You killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours, oh my god. Beside Lackey Road, the smoking deputy captain Ben Beckman looked at the newspaper and said, where are people? This is simply a god of murder. All of us in the pirate group added up to kill 4 people. Million. 40,000 pirates were killed. It is estimated that the water in the first half of the entire Grand Line was dyed red. Usopp, sitting on the ground with his back leaning on a rock, read the newspaper and said, it's really amazing. 40,000 pirates were slaughtered in just 6 hours. I can't imagine how powerful this method can be. Shanks grabbed the newspaper with both hands and smiled. This is indeed unbelievable. Boss. Are you going to find your teacher? Reiki Road asked Shanks. Rakilu knew that the boss had always wanted to find his teacher. Shanks smiled and said, I won't go for the time being. The teacher is killing me now. As a disciple of the teacher, I can't disturb the teacher's interest. Rakilu looked at Shanks in disbelief. Boss. Your thoughts are a bit distorted. Haha. Really? The redhead laughed. New world. Somewhere in the sea. Aboard the Moby Dick. As the head of the 4 emperors, Edward Newgate, Whitebeard, naturally received this newspaper. Although Whitebeard is a person from the old age, when he saw the content of the newspaper, he was shocked. Then he grinned and said, "Goo la la la, it's terrible. 40,000 pirates were slaughtered in 6 hours." After speaking, he looked at Marco, who was standing on the bow, and shouted at Marco. "Hey, Marco, there is news about your teacher." "Teacher's news?" Marco's face changed, and then he was ecstatic. With a swish, he appeared in front of Whitebeard. Taking the newspaper from Whitebeard's hand, Marco took a look, and by this look, his eyes became clear and round. F*K. Teacher killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. The Fishmen Island. Located in the sacred place Marie Joy's 10,000 meters deep under the sea. This is a paradise for murlocs and mermaids. Neptune is the king of the Fishmen Island, but although he is a king, anyone who is the Fishmen Island knows that the man named Fisher Tag is the real guardian here. Because of Lin Wuya, Fisher Tiger's strength has skyrocketed, so he did not die as early as in the original book. Murloc Street is the site of Fisher Tiger. As always, he stayed here. However, just today, a newspaper obtained from the outside broke his peace. Then an exclamation like the redhead and Marco resounded from the entire Murloc Street. F*K. Teacher killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. It's not just Marco, Shanks, and Fisher Tiger. Many disciples such as Rayleigh, Crocus, Monkey D. Dorag and others have seen this newspaper. Like Marco, Shanks, and Fisher Tiger, the disciples were shocked when they saw the contents of the newspaper. In 6 hours, 40,000 pirates were killed. Teacher, this is too scary. After the shock, they immediately became ecstatic. The reason for the ecstasy was naturally, after disappearing for half a year, the teacher finally appeared. But this time, they didn't want to see the teacher as eagerly as they did half a year ago. Like Shanks, they all chose to stand still. As for the reason, it is also surprisingly consistent with Shanks. The teacher is killing vigorously, how can their disciples disturb the teacher's interest? East Blue, Ishin Dojo. Buggy came to Ishin Dojo, which is Koshiro, as soon as he received the newspaper. Koshiro, have you seen the previous newspaper? The teacher killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. I saw it. Koshiro raised the newspaper in his hand. Buggy said, 40,000 pirates, my goodness. The population of a city is estimated to be 40,000. It's equivalent to saying that in 6 hours, the teacher slaughtered the pirates of a city. It's really shocking, Koshiro said so. He could not imagine how terrifying the 40,000 pirates were. I guess it can fill the entire Shimotsuki village. So many pirates were slaughtered by the teacher within 6 hours. This is too scary. Shimotsuki village, back mountain. Zoro and Zoro were sitting there. Normally, they are practicing swords at this time. But today they did not. The reason is the poster just sent to Ishin Dojo. Look at the eye-catching headline, 6 hours, 40,000 pirates. Zoro and Kuina's hearts are beating. Master too terrifying. Zoro's little face was full of shock. Not long ago, they were just shocked by Master Tai's 1.5 billion bounty. Now there is an even more terrifying news. Master Tai killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. The population of their entire Shimotsuki village adds up to 1,000 people. This is equivalent to saying that Master Tai slaughtered 40 pirates equal to the population of their village. This is indeed a bit scary. Kuina was also taken aback by what was reported in the newspaper. 40,000 pirates. All the pirates in their East Blue don't add up to that many. Kuina. You said that if 40,000 pirates stand together in a straight line, how far is it? Zoro asked Kuina. It is estimated that it will lead to the end of East Blue from here. Kuina said. To the end of East Blue, my god. Zoro's mouth is the eldest. Windmill Village. This is where Luffy, Ace, and Sabo live, in front of the wooden house. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo are sitting there. At this moment, Ace is holding a newspaper in his hand. This newspaper is about Lin Wuya. Luffy and Sabo are sitting on either side of Ace. At the moment, the three of them were looking at the newspaper with shocked faces. After such a moment, Sabo said, 6 hours, 40,000 pirates have been killed. F*K. Grandpa, this is too strong. It's more than strong. This is simply a strong finger. Ace grinned, with a hint of enthusiasm in his eyes. He couldn't imagine what it would be like to kill 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. Ace, Sabo. How many 40,000 pirates are there? Luffy has no concept of numbers, but he looked at the shocked expressions of Sabo and Ace and guessed that this should be a terrifying number. Don't you like meat? Luffy, if you compare a pirate to a chicken leg, 40,000 pirates or 40,000 chicken legs. Sabo said this analogy to Luffy, 40 or 40,000 drumsticks. Luffy was not scared, but drooled. Hello. Luffy, you give you an analogy, why do you still drool? Sabo looked at Luffy's drooling, speechless for a while. If you use chicken drumsticks as a metaphor, I will naturally drool. Luffy grinned. I really lost to you. Sabo supported his forehead. Sabo. I've decided, after a few years I will go to sea, I'm going to see Grandpa. After reading the newspaper, Ace stood up and looked at the sea under the mountain with excitement in his eyes. I will go with you then. Sabo turned to Ace. Ace, Sabo. Why don't you take me? I also want to find Grandpa with you. Luffy said loudly towards Ace and Sabo. You are too young. When we go to sea, you are still a kid. Ace grinned. Cut. I'm not a kid. I'm only 3 years younger than you. Luffy stuck in his waist and said with an unconvinced expression. Little 3-year-old is also a kid, slightly. Ace stuck out his tongue directly at Luffy. It's just that his expression made Luffy half dead with anger. Ah. I'm so angry, I won't play with you anymore. In front of the cabin, Dan looked at the 3 people, Ace, Luffy, and Sabo who were noisy, and shook his head. Then she looked at the newspaper in her hand, and she could see that Dan's hands were shaking. 6 hours, killed 40,000 pirates. Is that old gentleman still a human? Dan smoked a cigarette fiercely, then vomited it out, and then she looked up at the sky. Fortunately, she was wise and didn't provoke the old gentleman, otherwise. Dan is scared after thinking about it. The first half of the Grand Line. Somewhere in the sea. On the sea level, a pirate ship sailed quietly. It was Lin Wuya, Enel, and Robin who were riding on the boat. Unlike yesterday, today the sea level is quiet, without the shadow of a pirate ship. On the boat, Lin Wuya looked at the empty sea level around him and smiled. It seems that no one dares to come anymore. Think about it, too. I killed a day yesterday and dyed the seawater on this road red. Even if you give those guys 100 guts, I don't dare to come and take his head. After all, 1.5 billion is tempted, but it has to be fate. How many pirates were killed along the way? Turning around, Lin Wuya looked at Enel. Lin Wuya can't remember the specific number of pirates killed, but it should be no less than 30,000. About 50,000. Enel tells the number of pirates he will kill. 5,000. It's okay. Not too much. Although the original book did not introduce the specific number of pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, it is based on the number of marines. There should be hundreds of thousands, even millions are possible. 50,000 pirates sounded a lot, but compared to the first half of the entire Grand Line, it was nothing. Even 1/10 may not be there. Robin was taken aback by the number reported by Enel, but after hearing what Lin Wuya said, her jaw dropped in shock. 50,000 is not too much, my goodness. In the eyes of the teacher, how much is too much? There should be no pirates on this road, so just speed up and head to Sabodi Archipelago. Go and meet your big brother. The ship speeded up and headed towards the Sabodi Archipelago. However, it didn't take long for the ship to stop. Without him, there was another pirate ship ahead. Huh. There are people who are not afraid of death. Lin Wuya smiled. I thought that after seeing the death of 50,000 pirates, no one would dare to come again. Another wave appeared in Jingran. On the pirate ship, a scarred man held a reward poster in his hand. This reward is Lin Wuya's reward, but the bounty is not 1.5 billion Baileys, but 2.5 billion. That's right. This group of people are from the underground world. After seeing the rewards issued by the Don Quixote family in the underground world, they came here directly from the new world. And they are only the first batch, and a large number of underground world guys are coming here. And their goal is the same as the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line. Take Lin Wuya's head. On the boat, the scarred man glanced at the reward in his hand, and then at the white-haired old man standing on the boat not far away. After confirming that he was correct, he just looked at the 4 companions behind him. It's him. This person on offer. Lin Wuya. Hearing this, the 4 men behind the man all looked at Lin Wuya. Is that the old guy? The people in the underground world are not pirate groups. However, it is somewhat different from the form of mercenaries. Mercenaries are paid first to do things for others, and these people take up the task first and get paid afterwards. For example, if the task they received this time can be completed, they will be rewarded 2.5 billion Baileys. And the 5 people who appeared this time were not a group. They belonged to collaborators, and after taking over the tasks issued by the underground world, they worked together, dividing up the bounty afterwards. Although it is not a group, everyone is very strong, even compared to those pirates who offer a bounty of up to 80 million Baileys, They are not comparable to the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line. Strong strength plus one's own profession. Even after learning that 40,000 pirates died in the hands of Lin Wuya in the first half of the Grand Line, they are still willing to give it a try. After all, if the 2.5 billion Bailey's head can be won, then each of them can be divided into 500 million. 500 million Baileys. This is more than what they have earned in the past few years, so naturally they want to give it a try. Let's shoot together. After confirming that it was the person on offer, the 5 pirates glanced at each other, and then directly shot out. One of them even turned into a bird all the time. That is zone demon fruit power. Huh. This skill doesn't seem to be the pirate in the first half of the Grand Line, and there are even zone-capable people. Robin frowned. Because he had been wandering all over the world in the past, Robin almost knew at a glance that the people who came this time were not the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line. They are more like from New World. Are you sure? Robin. Lin Wuya looked at Robin. Yeah. Robin nodded. The pirates in the first half of the Grand Line don't have such skills. Oh. Is that so? Not from the first half of the Grand Line. Then there is only one possibility. These guys are from New World. Even the people from New World stared at my head. It's interesting. The corner of Lin Wuya's mouth twitched. Brush, brush, brush. When this thought flashed through Lin Wuya's mind, these 5 people also jumped onto the boat. Teacher? Do you want me to take action? Enel asked Lin Wuya. Your destructive ability is too strong. Let's leave it to your junior sister this time. It is naturally easy to solve these 5 guys with Enel's strength, but considering that these 5 guys jumped on his boat, Lin Wuya didn't plan to let Enel take a shot. After all, Enel's thunderfruit is too destructive, and Enel doesn't know how to stop after a fight. If it damages the boat, that's not good. After all, to go to Sabodi Archipelago, you have to rely on this ship at your feet. The ship is broken. How to go then? Good. Enel nodded, and then gave up the idea of shooting, and instead looked at Robin. Little junior sister. The 5 of them will be handed over to you. Yeah. Robin nodded, and immediately stepped forward. And as he walked out, Robin's whole personality changed in vain. At this moment, she is no longer the little junior colleague who fought with Enel along the way. It's the Ms. Red Rose that Crocodile once feared. On the deck, the 5 men looked at Robin with a cold temperament and couldn't help but frown. Although the other party is only a woman, they feel a strong sense of danger from each other. And this sense of danger can only be realized by those big pirates who bounty over 500 million. Dare to come and take my teacher's head, good courage. Robin looked directly at the 5 people in front of him and said coldly. Teacher? The 5 people were slightly startled, and immediately looked at Lin Wuya behind Robin. Is this woman a disciple of this old guy? Go and accompany those 50,000 guys. Robin looked cold. Immediately afterwards, she placed her hands in front of her. 20 rounds of flowers. The 4 character fell, and suddenly 20 arms grew directly behind the 5 people, which firmly locked the bodies of these 5 people like a chain. At the next moment, Robin's eyes narrowed. The color of the 20 arms was directly transformed into dark black. That is armament hockey. Little junior sister's ability is a bit special. She can grow arms on the opponent's body, and can also attach armament hockey, which is simply a magic weapon of the so-called. A look of surprise flashed in Enel's eyes. On the way, the teacher asked him to take action. The 5 people were locked firmly in just an instant. Even his 4 priests can't compare with such strength. What is this? The 5 people looked at the arms that locked them firmly on their bodies, and there was a look of fear in their eyes. They tried to break free, but no matter how they struggled, they couldn't break free of the restraints of these arms. What kind of ability is this? Their pupils shrank. The ability to grow arms on the opponent's body to restrain the opponent's actions has never been seen before. At this time, 2 arms were condensed in front of them. However, the 2 arms did not lock their bodies as before, but fisted at them with both hands. What is this? Looking at the fists aimed at them, the pupils of these 5 people gradually shrank, and intuitively told them that something terrible was coming. In the horrified eyes of these 5 people, Robin's cold voice slowly sounded. 5 wheels 6 type 6 king gun, 5 characters fall. Boom. Suddenly a powerful shockwave erupted from the 5 pairs of fists, passing through their bodies like a beam of light. Ah! The 5 yelled miserably, but they only yelled, and then there was no movement. Guru. Enel watched this scene and swallowed subconsciously. This junior sister Robin is a bit strong. As for the trick Robin used just now, he also recognized it. It was a 6 style 6 king gun. When he was on the mountain, the teacher also passed this trick to him. However, although he has learned it, he can only send it out once in an instant. Junior sister Robin actually sent it out 5 times in an instant. My goodness. This is too amazing. Teacher. What kind of ability is junior sister Robin? Enel asked Lin Wuya. Flower fruit capable person. Lin Wuya opened the mouth and said, with this ability, many arms are formed, like the 6 king spears before, as long as Robin is willing to use them at will. Even 100 times can be played at the same time. 100 times? Enel was dumbfounded. Damn it. Little junior sister is too strong in this ability. Matching 6 styles is simply invincible. I still don't mess with the younger sister in the future. Thinking that I had provoked Robin many times along the way, Robin was not angry, and now I think about Enel is afraid of it for a while. If Robin gets angry, he will use a 100-round 6 king gun on him. Then he hasn't been beaten out of shit. Teacher, it's solved. Robin turned to look at the teacher. Throw these 5 people down. Good. Robin nodded, using the flower fruit ability to throw the bodies of these 5 people into the water. However, in the next instant, his brow furrowed. What is this? She walked over and picked up the paper on the deck that looked like a reward poster. The next moment, Robin Willow's eyebrows wrinkled tighter. This is a reward from the teacher. But how did this bounty turn into 2.5 billion Baileys? Turning around, Robin walked to Lin Wuya and handed the reward poster to Lin Wuya. Teacher, look at this. Taking the reward poster from Robin's hand, Lin Wuya glanced at it. Like Robin, his brows were also frowned. Huh? 2.5 billion Baileys? My bounty has increased again? Robin noticed something strange. No. This doesn't seem to be a reward from Marine. If it was issued by Marine, then there should be a Marine mark on it, but there is obviously no reward on this reward. Hearing what Robin said, Lin Wuya took out the reward poster issued by Marine half a year ago and compared it. The result is really not there. Isn't this reward from Marine? Lin Wuya said so. It should not be. Robin shook his head, then looked at the reward poster again. Next moment, a string of characters caught Robin's attention. This character is composed of a series of letters. Don Quixote family. This is the Don Quixote family. After going down the mountain, Robin wandered around the world and had been to the underground world for a while, so she recognized what this character represents at a glance. This is the hallmark of the Donji River de family. Donji Haida family. What is that? Enel cast a curious look at Robin. Enel has always stayed at Sky Island in the past, and the only few years he left Sky Island was spent with Lin Wuya in the mountains. So he doesn't know much about things other than Sky Island, and he also doesn't know what Robin's Donji Haida family is. Robin opened his mouth and said, this is a family commanded by the pirate Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo. There are many powerful cadres under it, and the bounty is very high. Its territory is Dressrosa. And this Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo has another identity besides the identity of the pirate. The king of the underground world. He masters all kinds of transactions in the underground world. The king of the underground world? He sounds like a great guy. Enel grinned. The pirates encountered along the way were all rookies, and this one called Doflamingo seemed a bit strong. It should be more exciting to fight him. Although Doflamingo can't compare to the 4 emperors of New World, he can be regarded as a relatively powerful character in the entire New World, and he is a big thief. Robin continued. When you say that, I am more interested in him. Enel's eyes flashed with excitement. So this reward is from Doflamingo. Lin Wuya asked Robin. It should be him. Robin nodded and said, after all, Doflamingo represents the entire Don Quixote family. Basically, everyone in the family listens to him, and he is the king of the underground world. I think it should be the guy Doflamingo doing it. He should have issued your teacher's reward in the underground world. The 5 people who were not surprised just now should be from the underground world. Interesting. The corner of Lin Wuya's mouth twitched. He didn't go to provoke Doflamingo, the guy actually started to provoke him. It's interesting. It seems that I have to go to Dressrosa if I have time. Lin Wuya chuckled lightly. Teacher, if you go to Dressrosa, let me take care of the one called Doflamingo. All the people I met along the way were some vegetables, I'm so bored. Enel turned to Lin Wuya. Yes. Lin Wuya smiled and nodded. Wait for Dressrosa, hit that guy as you want. Even slaughtered. Good. Enel looked excited. He hasn't tried to kill the big pirates in Qinghai yet when he grows up. I think it will be very happy. But sir, since Doflamingo has issued your reward in the underground world, there will be a lot of people from the underground world if there is no accident on the way down the road. Robin said to Lin Wuya. Lin Wuya put his hands behind him, and said faintly, it's okay. Let them come if they want to come. To kill as many as you want. Also, this time I'll do it for the teacher. Speaking of how many pirates have not been slaughtered for the teacher in the year and a half since going down the mountain, only one of them was killed personally. A bright color flashed in the eyes of Robin and Enel. Does the teacher want to make a move? They know the strength of the teacher, it is as powerful as they can't imagine, and if the teacher takes action, the scene may be more terrifying than before. The ship set sail and headed forward. About half an hour later, 3 pirate ships appeared right in front of the ship. The people on these 3 pirate ships are from the underground world. And this time there were more people than before. There were 5 people standing on each boat, 15 people in total. And everyone's breath is not lost to the 5 people who came before. After seeing the 3 boats parked right in front, neither Enel nor Robin made a move. They looked at Lin Wuya. Because the teacher said, he wants to make a move. In the eyes of Enel and Robin, Lin Wuya got up from the chair, and then came to the bow. He stood there, standing with his hands behind. As for Robin and Enel, they stand behind Lin Wuya. Standing at the bow of the ship, Lin Wuya Sangkang's gaze swept across the 3 pirate ships in front of him. With just a glance, he can roughly see the number of people coming. 15. When Lin Wuya scanned them, the people on the 3 pirate boats also looked at Lin Wuya. Then everyone's eyes lit up. It's him. This person on the reward order issued by Doflamingo. Lin Wuya. Old guy. I found you. Success. 2.5 billion heads, we won. There was a flash of madness in his eyes, and the 15 people wanted to step forward to take Lin Wuya's head. However, the next moment, all their faces changed suddenly. They found that their bodies couldn't move, and the whole body was as heavy as a kilogram. What's the matter? How could there be such a huge gravity? They were horrified. You are also from the underground world, right? Lin Wuya's voice rang from this sea area. So what? One of the people in the underground world said coldly. Yes. Then go down and meet the 5 people who came before. A faint voice rang from Lin Wuya's mouth, and then in the horrified eyes of the 15 underground world people, Lin Wuya slowly raised his right hand. Raise your palm, then hold it down. Next moment, a majestic force of gravity gathered from all directions and enveloped all the 3 pirate ships. It's like a cannonball exploding. The 3 pirate ships exploded directly, and the aftermath they brought caused turbulence in the sea area. For a time, the waves roared and the tide rolled. The same is true for the 15 people in the underground world on the ship. Under the squeeze of gravity, they exploded directly. It turned into a cloud of blood, and it filled the sky over this sea. The blood mist fell and the wine entered the sea. The originally azure water was instantly dyed red, and he blinked to see a blood red. Bloody. Violence. At this moment, Lin Wuya explained the ultimate. Behind Lin Wuya, Robin and Enel both grew their mouths at this moment. With just a grip, the 3 pirate ships exploded and opened in an instant, and they were all bombed. Teacher, this is too fierce. After doing all this, Lin Wuya put down his right hand, put it behind him, and then turned back to the center of the boat. Go ahead. Yes, teacher. Robin nodded, then steered the ship to move on. The ship passed through the blood-red water, causing a wave of waves. Standing on the boat, Enel looked at the blood-red water stirred by the waves behind him, and squirmed his throat subconsciously. Although his ability can also destroy these pirates in an instant. But it is undoubtedly incomparable with the teacher. The teacher is the teacher, and bang bang bang? He is completely convinced of the teacher's strength, and it is not something that disciples like them can compare. The ship sets sail. Keep going. About an hour later, another group of people appeared. Like the last group of people, no more, no less. 15 people. They were divided into 3 pirate boats, and 1 pirate boat carried 5 people. Teacher. Someone is here again. Robin glanced straight ahead, and then said to Lin Wuya who was lying on the chair. Oh? It's only an hour. Another batch comes. These guys from New World are quite fast. New World and Grand Line are separated by a red line in the first half. There is only one way for people there to come to Grand Line, and that is to dive into the water and pass through the Fishmen Island to the first half of the Grand Line. The journey is not long. However, these guys came here in such a short period of time, and this speed has to be said to be quite fast. Then continue to kill. Standing up from the chair, Lin Wuya came to the bow. I saw this group of people at a glance. There are also 3 ships, and also 15 people. And at the sea level 1 mile behind the 3 ships, he also saw the shadow of a pirate ship. I think I should have come to get his head, but the speed is a bit slower. This speed is a bit slow. But it's okay. Kill the 3 ships first. The slow one will be slaughtered later. When the thought fell, Lin Wuya immediately raised his right hand. Boom. The endless gravity swept over the 3 ships. Then Lin Wuya squeezed it with his right hand. Boom. 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 The three ships exploded directly, then turned into powder and poured down. The seawater was stained red with blood again. Even the screams before death, these people didn't have time to shout out, they turned into dead souls. Not far away, the people in the underground world that were sailing towards here looked at the three pirate ships that turned into powder at that moment, and their pupils all shrank. Cheat. It's a lie. The three pirate ships disappeared in a blink of an eye. As if suspecting it was an illusion, they rubbed their eyes vigorously. However, there is no change in the scene before me. No more. The three pirate ships are then gone. And those guys on the ship didn't even see the corpse capital. Shocked. Fear. All kinds of emotions accumulated in their hearts, and then they turned the bow and fled here. Escape. That old guy is a monster. Hurry up. Before turning over, the three pirate ships were destroyed. They knew that this kind of person was not something they could provoke. As for taking Lin Wuya's head, they didn't even dare to think about it. How can such a terrifying guy take his first rank? It is estimated that before they took a shot, they were bombed into scum like those guys before. At this moment, they have only one thought, that is to escape here, the farther the better. On the bow, Lin Wuya smiled faintly at the people in the underground world who had turned around and fled frantically. Don't worry. No one can escape. After that, he raised his palm to the pirate ship. Immediately after holding the palm, then, boom. The ship 1 nautical mile away directly exploded. On the side, Enel's shocked mouth is the long boss, and even the boat teacher from a nautical mile away can turn his hands and annihilate. This is too strong. He originally thought that as the teacher got older, his strength would be weakened. Is this him? Where does it weaken? This is even more terrifying than when you were on the mountain. After solving the people in the underground world in 1 nautical mile, Lin Wuya turned and returned to the center of the ship, lying down, and took a sip from the wineglass on the side. Go ahead. Yes, teacher. Robin nodded, and then controlled the ship to move on. These people in the underground world are not like the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line. They all come from New World on the other side of the Red Line. Therefore, even if the people in front were slaughtered, they didn't know, no matter how much they died, they didn't know at all. Because of this, on the next journey, people from the underground world were coming by boat. Unlike the guys in the first half of the Grand Line, they retreated after seeing a lot of pirates. These guys from New World appear in batches almost every half an hour. They are like crazy, one after another. As for Lin Wuya happily watching this kind of scene, after all, they wouldn't dare to come if a few groups of people were slaughtered, it was really boring. In the past year and a half, the reason why Lin Wuya didn't kill much was that he felt that killing was bloody, and that he might feel a little uncomfortable when killing someone. After all, he is a traverser, let alone murder. In his previous life, he has never even beaten anyone. Even after surrendering 2 batches of pirates in Ziyang village after going down the mountain, Lin Wuya asked the villagers and Koshiro to solve them. But this time, Lin Wuya's feeling has changed. This killing didn't seem to be as uncomfortable as he had imagined. On the contrary, when he walked along the way, he was all excited about the killing. Because of this, Lin Wuya did not keep his hands on the next road. Come one. Kill one. Let's kill 1 pair of 2. In short, one does not stay. Along the way, Lin Wuya can't remember how many people died under his hands, but the preliminary estimate is that it will not be less than 1,000, or even more. At this moment, on the sea level 10 nautical miles away around Lin Wuya's route, many pirate boats stopped there. These are all the pirates who originally wanted to take Lin Wuya's head in the first half of the Grand Line. The reason why they didn't leave was not that they still wanted to look for opportunities to get Lin Wuya's head, but that he wanted to see the situation. To be straightforward is curiosity. But from this look, their throats were dry for a while, and their hearts trembled even more. Go all the way, kill all the way. Come 1 batch, kill 1 batch. Don't leave one. That old gentleman is crazy. Regarding the comment section that Zoro does not have Conqueror's Haki, let me explain. No one said that the crew of Luffy is based on the standard crew of One Piece. If it is, then Bullet also has Conqueror's Haki, doesn't it mean that Sanji also has it? This is obviously impossible. The plot is written so far. I haven't even seen Sanji use armed sex, the only Haki is seeing and hearing sex. My setting is based on the original book. So Zoro has not set the qualifications to awaken conquerors. On the bow, Lin Wuya stood with his hands behind. And behind him is a route that stretches for dozens of nautical miles, but this route is not like other routes, full of blue water. It is red. And it's not ordinary red, it's scarlet like blood. These reds were left by the people from the underground world who had come to take Lin Wuya's head. It's all their blood. Looking at the red route with dozens of nautical miles, the pirates who were observing the Grand Lines offshore trembled. It's terrible. Kill a batch if you come. Not even one. How is this an 80-year-old man? He is a murderer. When they released Lin Wuya's reward at Marine, they thought Marine was a bit funny. An 80-year-old man was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by Marine just because he injured the world government in Alabasta. But now, they don't think so. 1.5 billion. This is so low. Even if it is 2 billion Baileys and 3 billion Baileys, they don't think it's a mistake. Even if Lin Wuya's reward is raised to the level of the 4 emperors, they will not feel low. Kidding. Those 4 emperors of New World may not have killed so many. Not only the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, but also the generals of the various branches of Marine who patrolled were also shocked. Go all the way. Kill all the way. This old gentleman is terrible. Back to the branch, they reported the situation here to the headquarters. Naval Headquarters. Marineford. I got it. After Marshal Sengoku said this, he hung up the phone worm from the branch. What happened to the first half of the Grand Line? As soon as Sengoku hung up, Suru asked. Garp, Zephyr, Sakazuki, Paluzolino, Kuzan and many other Marine executives also turned their attention to Sengoku. On weekdays, these Marine executives are most concerned about the actions of the 4 emperors of New World. But now, everyone's attention is on Lin Wuya. 10-year-old Lin Wuya. Especially after learning that Lin Wuya had killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours, they were even more curious about Lin Wuya's voyage afterwards. Sengoku took a deep breath, and then explained the situation from the branch. The generals of the branch said that the old gentleman is crazy. As soon as this word came out, the entire conference room fell silent. Kill crazy. This has to kill how many talents to make the generals of the branch say such things. Halfway through the Grand Line. At this moment, Lin Wuya is still killing. Although the killing was enjoyable, Lin Wuya couldn't help but become curious at this moment. Can these guys kill them? On the way, the number of people in the underground world who died in his hands almost exceeded 5,000. There are so many killers in this underground world? Out of curiosity, Lin Wuya asked Robin. Robin, how many people are engaged in this profession in this underground world? Robin replied. When I was in the underground world, there were almost 50,000 people engaged in this profession. But that was a few years ago, and the number of people engaged in this profession in the underground world will increase every year. If you count the time, it should be about 100,000 now. Nearly half of them are New World pirates, and the other half are people who make a living by doing this. Lin Wuya didn't listen to those words after Robin carefully, he only listened to the number of people reported by Robin. 100,000. There are so many people engaged in this profession in this underground world. It's no wonder that he has killed 5,000 along the way and there is a steady stream of people coming. Now Lin Wuya understands that these 5,000 are not worth mentioning compared to 100,000. Killed 5,000 and there are 95,000 people. It seems that there is still a busy road ahead. Lin Wuya said with a chuckle. Even if only 1/5 of the killers of the 100,000 underground world came, except for the 5,000 people he killed before, there are still 15,000 people who have not come. But Lin Wuya knows that there are definitely more people here. It is estimated that there will be 30 or 40,000. Even if half of the underground world killers are dispatched, Lin Wuya will not be surprised. After all, the reward order issued by the guy Doflamingo is not a small amount, but 2.5 billion Baileys, which is more than 100,000 more than the reward order issued by Marine. Lin Wuya admits that if he is one of these killers in the underground world, he will give it a try. After all, once the task of 2.5 billion Baileys can be completed, then there is no need to engage in this industry in the future. With these 2.5 billion Baileys alone, one can live a happy life without any care, and it is still the kind of joy of being drunk and gold fans. Just like those people who bought lottery tickets in previous lives, even if they know that the probability of winning is very small, so small that it is even lower than the lightning strike, there are still many people who buy it one after another. One truth. The difference is that one is to spend money and the other is to take life. But since those guys from New World choose to engage in this business, they definitely don't think so much about life and death. I can't say that I don't care, as long as the individual should still be afraid of death. It can only be said that they do not value life and death so much compared to other people. And this type of person is what others often call the desperado. Take your own fate. If you become successful, you will get it done once and for all. If you don't succeed, you will lose your life. Teacher. If you feel a little tired, let us come. Robin said to Lin Wuya. I'm not tired. Lin Wuya smiled. It's all about raising your hands. If this is all tired, then your teacher and I will be too useless. Okay. Teacher, if you feel tired, call us. After all, there is still a lot of road to Sabodi Archipelago. Robin smiled at Lin Wuya. It can be seen that Robin still cares about Lin Wuya very much. Even if he knows that Lin Wuya's killing is just a matter of raising his hand, he is worried that Lin Wuya will kill him. Okay. I'll call you when I'm tired. Lin Wuya smiled and nodded, sighing in his heart that it is good to have a female apprentice, and he knows to care about him. Unlike the kid like Enel, he was asleep all the way. Go ahead. Putting down these words, Lin Wuya immediately turned around and returned to the center of the boat, lying down along the chair. As for Robin, he is controlling the ship to continue sailing. The three masters and apprentices just followed the route of the Grand Line and headed toward Sabodi. On the next road, people from the underground world are constantly appearing. The frequency is the same as before, one wave every half an hour. In the face of these underground world killers, Lin Wuya's approach is still the same as before. Come and kill a wave. It is impossible to keep alive, and it is impossible to keep alive in this life. Just like this, in the process of advancing and killing all the way. Time soon arrived at dusk. At night, Lin Wuya chose to live on a nearby island. Similarly, the killer of New World also appeared at night, but for these people who came at night, Lin Wuya did not take action, and handed it over to Robin and Enel to deal with. As for Lin Wuya, he lay there alone and fell asleep, completely not worried about these killers appearing at night. Kidding. His two disciples are guarding here. A disciple comparable to Admiral, and a disciple approaching Admiral. What kind of killer can get close to him? If he could get close, he would have taught Robin and Enel in the past few years. This night, for Lin Wuya, it was very peaceful, but for Enel and Robin, it was not peaceful. The two of them came out almost every 15 minutes. Obviously, the killer also knows that it is more convenient to act at night and has a higher success rate. Therefore, the frequency of people from the underground world in the New World at night is even higher, and its frequency is almost twice that of the day. This night, neither Enel nor Robin closed their eyes. The next day, the morning sun rises. Lin Wuya also opened his eyes when the shadow of the afterglow of the day tearing through the clouds projected down. Standing up, Lin Wuya glanced around. Looking into the eye, there are corpses everywhere, the ground is flushed with blood, and even the air is exuding a strong smell of blood. So many came in the night. This is indeed something Lin Wuya did not expect. He thought that there would be fewer people coming at night, but he didn't expect that not only were there not, but also more than during the day. How many people came last night? Lin Wuya asked Robin and Enel. Just around him sleeping, Lin Wuya saw no less than 500 corpses, but in fact Lin Wuya knew that there were definitely more people coming. After all, the island is not small. Enel said, I killed 3,637 people. Robin said, I killed 3,375 people. 3,637, 3,375. That adds up to almost 7,000 people. After some calculations, Lin Wuya shook his head immediately. There were 2,000 more people than during the day. Spit. The guys in the underground world of New World are really crazy. But on second thought, Lin Wuya thinks that it is normal for more people to appear at night than during the day. After all, the night is the most suitable place for killers. Naturally, those guys like to choose night actions. But it doesn't matter anymore. Come on. No matter how much you come at night, it's still not the same as those guys during the day. The night is indeed suitable for action, but it also depends on who the target is. Take his first level at night. Lin Wuya can only say one thing, haha. Have you prepared breakfast? Lin Wuya asked Enel and Robin. Enel scratched his head. Nothing. Instead, Robin smiled and nodded. Ready. After speaking, Robin walked aside and took out some barbecue. F*K. Lil Junior sister, you have been busy this evening. Where is the time to barbecue? Enel's mouth grew in surprise. It was busy last night, but time, there is always a squeeze. Besides, it doesn't take much time to barbecue. Robin smiled at Enel. After speaking, Robin delivered the barbecue to Lin Wuya. Teacher, here. Robin is still sweet. Lin Wuya nodded in satisfaction, took the barbecue from Robin's hand, and then said to Enel, learn more from your junior and sister, you will know how to fight and kill all day long. Enel was speechless by Lin Wuya's words, but in my heart. There are still some ideas. Me him. If I didn't fight, you could sleep so soundly last night? I can hear your snoring when I kill. Lin Wuya didn't care what Enel thought. He took the barbecue that Robin handed him and ate it. Enel drooled while watching. He stared at the barbecue in Lin Wuya's hand and said, Teacher, can you tell me a little bit? Although I am not as caring as the younger sister, I was busy last night without credit and hard work. You can't make me hungry. I want to eat it and bake it myself. Hearing this, Enel's face turned black in an instant. They all say that I'm a teacher, but I don't see anything from you. At this moment, Robin walked over, holding 2 pieces of barbecue in his hand. Brother Enel, yours and me are also ready. Looking at the 2 aromatic barbecues in Robin's hands, Enel cried with excitement. Hello, junior sister Robin, not as ruthless as the teacher. As soon as the words fell, Lin Wuya's angry voice sounded. Boy, who are you ruthless? Hearing this, Enel changed his words again and again. I said myself, teacher, I said myself. After speaking, Enel was relieved to see that the teacher did not continue to get angry. Then he grabbed the 2 large pieces of barbecue in Robin's hand and ate them. Huh. It smells so good. The craftsmanship of the younger sister is just good. After a few pieces of barbecue, the master and the apprentice are also full. Then Lin Wuya said towards Enel. This mountain-filled corpse looks strangely infiltrating. If someone lands here and is not scared to death, you can deal with it. After that, Lin Wuya took Robin back to the captain. As for Annie's road, he looked at the island. Then he held the golden stick and beat on the 4-3 gold jade drums behind him. Boom. Boom. Endless thunderclouds condensed from his body, and then gathered above the island. In an instant, the sky over the entire island was darkened. Wan Lei. 2 words fall. Suddenly, the endless thunder fell from the thundercloud, and this scene was like a natural disaster. After a while, the thundercloud disappeared. What appeared in sight was a bare island. Not to mention the corpses all over the ground, even the vegetation on the island disappeared. On the boat, Robin looked at the empty island and couldn't help but say, Brother Enel has done a bit too much. It's really overkill. Lin Wuya's mouth twitched slightly. I ask you to deal with these corpse wounds. You and he will wipe out the entire island directly for me. Looking at the bare island in front of him, Lin Wuya's mouth and Kakuzu twitched slightly. This kid actually leveled the entire island. At this time, Enel is back. He jumped on the boat, walked in front of Lin Wuya, clapped his hands, and proudly showed off his masterpiece. How about a teacher? You are still satisfied, not one left. Lin Wuya said with a black face. There's not one corpse left. But you have wiped out the entire island? Look, this island can still live in? If you can't live, you can't live. Anyway, there is no one on this island. Enel smiled and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what he had done. However, in the next instant, when a whip appeared in Lin Wuya's hand, Enel's face changed instantly. Old teacher. I was wrong, I won't do it again next time. And next time? Lin Wuya rushed into the crown, picked up the whip and slapped Enel. In an instant, Enel's pig-killing scream echoed all over the ship. This scream lasted for an hour before it stopped. Putting the whip back to its original position, Lin Wuya turned towards Robin and said, Go. Yes, teacher. Robin nodded, then started the boat and continued sailing. As for Enel, it was a miserable one, and there were lash marks all over his body. At the same time, the heart is also quite wrong. You asked me to deal with those corpses, just because I had done a little too much, so I just beat them like this. You are too cruel. At this time, a bottle flew over from Robin and fell into Enel's hand. Enel, who took the bottle, found that it turned out to be a medicine for trauma. Moved and cried again, it's better to be a younger sister. Time passed by like water. Unconsciously, the 3 masters and apprentices on the Grand Line have been sailing for 3 days. If it is a generally faster ship, you can basically reach the Sabodi archipelago in 3 days. But because Lin Wuya took a slower boat during this trip, even after 3 days of sailing, he only walked half the distance. According to this progress, it will take 3 days to reach Sabodi archipelago. And along the way, people from the underground world continued to come, but compared to the previous 3 days, it was obviously much less. On the 5th day of the voyage, almost no one showed up, so the speed of travel was much faster. And seeing people without the underground world appeared, Lin Wuya was also completely relaxed, lying on a chair, drinking a small wine leisurely. But he is relaxed. The underground world has exploded. Of the 20,000 killers who went on this trip, none of them came back. Is this him? It's a lie? The news also reached Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo. Like the guys in the underground world, Doflamingo didn't come back after learning that none of the 20,000 killers who had gone there this time. The whole person was also frightened. As the king of the underground world, these killers are quite useful for Doflamingo. He will basically issue tasks for these guys to do what he wants to do on weekdays. And these people are also brought in by him using various resources. It took him 10 years to recruit so many people. However, a few days of work actually lost 20,000 yuan, 1/5 of his 10 years of hard work. Rao, Doflamingo couldn't help but feel heartache. 20,000. That's it. That old guy is so strong. In Dressrosa's palace, Doflamingo sits on the throne, frowning. Killing 20,000 guys in the underground world in a few days, even he couldn't do it at all. Dover. Will you continue to test the strength of that old guy? Holding a cane, Toripel, who was covered in mucus, said towards Doflamingo. Where did Doflamingo dare to continue, and said to Toripel, no, try again, the guys in the underground world will be killed, and the 20,000 people who went this time have been slaughtered by the old guy. I guess no one would dare to go. The reward order for the underground world has been withdrawn. Okay. I'll do it. Toripel nodded, then turned and left here. Doflamingo sat on the throne, staring at the Lin Wuya's reward in his hand. The reason why he released a reward in the underground world is also out of curiosity about Lin Wuya. The reason that made him curious was that Marine offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys to Lin Wuya. There is another reason. 4 Emperors Whitebeard, 4 Emperors Red-Haired Shanks, Revolutionary Army and many other forces actually went to find Lin Wuya. He learned the news from the Underground Intelligence Office. He was also shocked when he learned this information at the time. An 80-year-old man who was about to enter the soil unexpectedly caused so many terrifying forces to be dispatched, and even the 4 emperors of New World led their respective pirate groups. So he planned all this with one hand. But it turned out that not only did Mao fail to find out, he also lost 20,000 hands. Where is this old guy sacred? Staring at the photo on the bounty in his hand, Doflamingo frowned. Sabaody Archipelago, located under the Red Line. As the only place to go to New World, it is also one of the most active islands for pirates. The ships that come here will basically choose to coat the Sabaody Archipelago, and then dive into the sea and enter the New World through the Fishmen Island. Because of this, Sabaody Archipelago is very messy. Fighting incidents happen almost all the time, and this is also where Marine's focus is. At this time, a pirate ship was slowly approaching at a sea level 5 nautical miles away in the Sabaody Archipelago. The people on board were Lin Wuya, Enel, Robin and their apprentices. After spending 6 days, they finally arrived here. Standing on the boat, Lin Wuya looked at the island surrounded by bubbles not far away, and smiled lightly. It's finally here. Robin and Enel also had a hint of excitement in their eyes. It can be said that this was a kill, but fortunately, he managed to reach here. And they know that Big Brother lives in Sabaody Archipelago. The 2 of them were also very excited at the thought of seeing the Big Brother soon. What does the 70-year-old Big Brother look like? Really look forward to it. 10 minutes later, the ship stopped on the shore of Sabaody Archipelago. Lin Wuya, Enel, Robin and his apprentice walked off the boat. This island is a bit interesting. The top is full of bubbles. Enel looked up at the colorful bubbles covering the sky above Sabaody Archipelago, smiled, said. These bubbles are the unique culture of Sabaody Archipelago. But compared to this, the most special thing about Sabaody Archipelago is its geography and location. As a hub connecting the first half of the Grand Line and New World, basically all ships that want to go to New World have to pass through here for coating. Only in this way can they go to the New World. Robin opened his mouth. In other words, there are a lot of pirates here? Enel said with a smile. Yeah, Robin nodded. Hey. It won't be boring to wait. The pirates who can go to New World should be more powerful. There was a glimmer of excitement in Enel's eyes. Don't think about this all day long. Wait for you to go in and tell me honestly. Don't cause trouble without my orders. Enel's excitement didn't last long before Lin Wuya's humming sound was like a basin of cold water pouring on his head. Immediately, Enel nodded angrily. Got it, teacher. At this time, Robin looked at Lin Wuya. Teacher. Which area of Sabaody Archipelago lives in? Sabaody Archipelago has a total of 79 areas. Each area is not small, even if there are special transportation, but if you don't know where the Big Brother lives, it will be very troublesome to find. Lin Wuya opened his mouth and said, I really don't know where I live, but I know one place that guy often goes to. It's a blackmail bar called Shaki. Rayleigh often goes to Shaki's blackmail bar. Lin Wuya knows this because of the original works. In the original works, Rayleigh often stays there. Is Shaki's blackmail bar? I know this, it is quite famous in the Sabaody Archipelago area. Robin smiled, and immediately asked, Then teacher, shall we go now? Yeah. Lin Wuya nodded. Following the area number, Lin Wuya quickly found Shaki's Lasso bar. And no one recognized Lin Wuya along the way. Regarding this, Lin Wuya did not feel surprised. After all, those pirates who went to take his first level were killed by him, Robin and Enel. As for the other pirates, I haven't seen him either. Unless you have his offer in your hand, it is very possible to recognize him at a glance just by seeing his offer. Pushing the door in, Lin Wuya and the three came to Shaki's blackmail bar. Perhaps because it was the afternoon and no one came, the bar seemed empty and quiet. Only the lady boss is here. Are there any guests here again? Hearing movement from the door, Shaki, the proprietress of the bar, turned around, but in the next instant, her complexion became more exciting. It turned out to be you, old gentleman. Huh? You know me? Lin Wuya was a little surprised. No one recognized him on the way into the Sabodi archipelago. Did Shaki recognize him at a glance? I was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by Marine for killing tens of thousands of pirates in the first half of the Grand Line. How can I not recognize the old gentleman? During this period of time, stories about you have been circulated in Grand Line and even New World. Furthermore, in the past, Rayleigh used to talk to me about you, the old man. In this case, I don't think it would be difficult for you to recognize the old man. Shaki smiled at Lin Wuya with a cigarette in his right hand. Haha. Is that so? Lin Wuya smiled faintly, then sat down. Where is that boy Rayleigh? If you dare to call Rayleigh a kid, Lin Wuya is probably alone in the whole world. But Shaki didn't think there was anything. On the contrary, she would be surprised if she didn't call Rayleigh boy. Others may not know the relationship between this old man and Rayleigh, but she does. This old man is Rayleigh's teacher. Shaki smiled and said, he is coating the ships in the port now. It is estimated that it will take a while to come back. Do you want me to call him? Wait for him to finish coating. I just came to Sabodi archipelago, and I haven't visited here much yet. I will go out and have a look first. If Rayleigh comes back, you can just let him wait for me here. Lin Wuya smiled. Now that he is here, Lin Wuya is not in a hurry. After all, he will be able to see him sooner or later. Okay. The old man, just go shopping at Sabodi archipelago. When Rayleigh comes back, I will tell him, Shaki said towards Lin Wuya. Good. Lin Wuya nodded, then got up and left Shaki's blackmail bar. Robin and Enel also followed out. Seeing Lin Wuya leaving behind, Shaki chuckled lightly. I didn't expect this old man to come to Sabodi archipelago. If Rayleigh knew about it, he would be very happy. She still remembers clearly how Rayleigh looked when she saw this old gentleman offering a reward 6 months ago. That's an excitement. Having known Rayleigh for so many years, she was so excited to see Rayleigh for the first time. After leaving Shaki's blackmail bar, Lin Wuya came to the population auction site. If the whole Sabodi archipelago is most interesting to him, it is undoubtedly this place. Not that Lin Wuya wanted to auction some slaves, but wanted to see what kind of place this so-called population auction was like. Even though I have seen it from the original work, Lin Wuya still wants to see it with his own eyes. Teacher. Are you buying a few slaves? Robin didn't know Lin Wuya's mind, so after seeing Lin Wuya came to the population auction, he asked curiously. No. I just want to come and have a look, Lin Wuya said lightly, and then walked directly in. Next is a small climax, slay celestial dragons. Leads to Admiral, and then Rayleigh will also appear. As a disciple, the teacher's interest naturally did not dare to bother, so after seeing Lin Wuya walk into the population auction, Robin and Enel also followed. Speaking of it, Lin Wuya came at a relatively coincidental time. Today happens to be the day of the January population auction. Because of this, there are quite a lot of people in the population auction, and the seats around are full of people. Look into the densely populated piece. Except for some of these people who came here because of curiosity like Lin Wuya, the rest were basically here to buy slaves. After entering the interior, Lin Wuya took Robin and Enel to find a seat and sat down. Looking at the people sitting all around, Enel said, there are so many people? After that, he watched and turned to Robin who was sitting aside, little junior sister. Did you ask the teacher if you wanted to buy slaves? Is this a population auction house where slaves are traded? Yeah. Robin nodded. After the human traffickers from all over the world abducted people, they were trafficked here, and then they were sold through this auction? Trafficking people and auctioning them, isn't it illegal? Enel asked. Although I don't know Qinghai very well, Enel seems to be illegal in trafficking in human beings. After all, if even human beings can be trafficked, wouldn't it be a mess? This kind of behavior is indeed illegal in other places, but it is allowed here. Robin opened his mouth. Why is it illegal elsewhere? It is allowed here. Enel frowned. Does this population auction have a strong background? Because Celestial Dragons stands behind this population auction. Robin explained the reason. Celestial Dragons? What the hell is this? Enel frowned. The Celestial Dragons are the nobles of the world living in the Holy Land Marie Joys, descendants of the 20 kings who founded the world government 800 years ago. But even though they are the nobles of the world, their behavior is extremely ugly, because they think high and disdain for ordinary people who breathe the same air and wear a bubble mask on their heads, and they treat people of other races as slaves. In their eyes, slaves are slaves. Their pet. Robin sat there and said slowly. So overbearing? Treat people of other races as slaves? And even disdain to breathe the same air as ordinary people wear bubble masks on their heads? Enel frowned. Even if he used to be a Sky Island god, he didn't do this. This so-called celestial dragons is so arrogant, and he doesn't even bother to breathe the same air as ordinary heat. Is this him? Do these guys really think of themselves as treasures? No way. Who makes them a nobleman in the world? Robin said so. Doesn't anyone care about what they do? Enel asked. No. Robin shook his head. Not only are there no one to supervise them, but they are also protected by the world government. If you resist them, you will even recruit Marine Admiral or CP0. So awesome? Enel is a little bit frizzy. A bunch of rubbish. Not only are no one in charge, but they are also protected, and even resisting them will attract people of Marine Admiral level. Yeah. Robin nodded. This is celestial dragons. When you say that, I want to see these so-called celestial dragons now. I want to see what kind of guys they are. Enel said in a deep voice. Click. At this time, the gate of the population auction was opened. Then a wretched-looking man walked in. The man was dressed in a white costume of the family, with a bubble mask on his head. Holding a rope in his hand, at the end of the rope was a slave kneeling on the ground covered in blood. Brother Enel. Don't you want to meet? That guy is. Robin glanced at the person who walked in, then Enel said. Is that celestial dragons? Upon hearing this, Enel looked at the celestial dragons. Next moment, his eyes narrowed. Sure enough, as senior sister Robin said, she was defiant, treated slaves as pets, and wore bubble masks on her head. People at the population auction also noticed the celestial dragons who walked into the auction at this moment. The complexion changed immediately, and then they lowered their heads one after another, and they could see that they were very afraid of celestial dragons. At the entrance of the auction, the celestial dragon standing there is also St. Charles Rose. He glanced at the auction table below, and said with a proud face, it seems it's not over yet. After speaking, he looked at the slave he was holding in his hand, and then directly lifted his foot and placed it on the slave's body. Boom. Boom. The low voice continued throughout the auction, but no one dared to stop it. St. Charles Roth kept kicking the slave until the slave was passed by rising. Then he looked at the guard next to him. I've played enough with this guy, sell him. Yes. St. Charles. An escort took the rope from St. Charles Rose, and then dragged the slave away. As for St. Charles Rose, he looked at the auction table below. I don't know what good products will be available today. After speaking, he walked down the steps. When the people on both sides of the steps saw St. Charles Roth coming, they buried their heads low. Going down the stone steps, St. Charles Roth found a seat and sat down. Then he raised his head and looked at the man auctioning the merchandise on the stage, and said proudly, you can continue. Yes. Yes. St. Charles. The man in charge of auctioning merchandise was named Disco. He nodded towards St. Charles, and then continued to auction merchandise. Because of the arrival of celestial dragons, the original lively auctions have become a lot quieter, and those who originally wanted to buy slaves have also become a lot more fearful. Lin Wuya naturally felt this, and immediately frowned. The purpose of his coming here this time is to see how lively this population auction will be, and celestial dragons has lost all his interest. Sitting in the seat, Lin Wuya frowned and said, this celestial dragons, it's a bit annoying. The sound is not loud, but Enel and Robin sitting on the side heard it. Robin didn't take any action, but Enel was different, and disappeared from his seat in an instant. Enel was a little unable to bear these celestial dragons, but now he heard the teacher say this. How could he bear it? It was the elementalization that appeared in front of St. Charles. And looking at the Enel who suddenly appeared in front of St. Charles Roth, the expressions of everyone present changed. What is this guy going to do? Does he want to shoot celestial dragons? Probably not. Similarly, the one who was stunned was St. Charles. No matter when others showed respect and fear to him, this guy appeared in front of him openly, and it was still when he was auctioning goods. The untouchables from nowhere dare to stand in front of me. St. Charles Roth said with an angry face. Enel looked directly at Charles Rose. My teacher said it's annoying to see you, so I'm sorry. Words fall. Enel directly raised his right hand. In the palm of his hand, a bright thunderlight emerged, and then turned into a thunder and lightning beam and shot out, directly engulfing St. Charles Rose's whole person. After a while, the thunderlight dissipated. What appeared in the eyes of everyone present was an empty seat. As for the St. Charles Roth, who was sitting there before, was completely gone. Everyone. Where is St. Charles Roth? No. It's so gone. Fear condensed in the eyes of everyone present, and then he directly stood up from his seat and fled here frantically. Kill, kill. Celestial dragons are killed. If ordinary people are killed, these people will naturally not be afraid. After all, this is the Saboti archipelago, the only place for pirates to enter the new world. Fighting incidents are common here, and dead people can't be more common. But who is St. Charles? That is the descendant of celestial dragons, the founder of the world government, the world's responsible clan. That is the existence of the World Admiral and World Government Intelligence Organization CP0. Now he was killed by someone, and he was still bombarded with scum, and even the capital of the corpse was gone. Naturally, they were so frightened that they would dare to stay here. In an instant, the entire population auction was plunged into chaos. Everyone present ran wildly towards the outside of the population auction. In less than a minute, the entire population auction was empty. Seeing the population auction site that was empty for an instant, Enel's face turned dark. Me him. I am not killing you, I am killing celestial dragons. What are you running? The reason why he shot this celestial dragons was because the teacher said that this guy was a bit annoying, and he was afraid that the teacher's interest would be disturbed. But now the entire meeting place was lost by him. The teacher can't take his skin off. Lifting his head, Enel looked at Lin Wuya. After seeing Lin Wuya's strange gaze, his heart suddenly sank to the bottom. It's over, the teacher is angry. Back to the teacher, Enel is already ready to be slapped with a whip by the teacher. Similarly, Robin felt that Brother Enel might be inevitably violent again. After all, Brother Enel had wiped out the entire island because of the handling of those corpses, and the teacher slapped Brother Enel. This time, Senior Brother Enel directly wiped out the entire population auction house. Even if the teacher stripped Senior Brother Enel's skin, Robin would not be surprised. However, the unexpected scene of the two of them did not happen. Lin Wuya said faintly, "It's okay. You ran away and ran away. Besides, you also killed the Celestial for fear that your interest as a teacher would be disturbed. Dragons, so don't blame you." Hearing what Lin Wuya said, Robin was directly live. What happened this time was worse than the last time Brother Enel lost an entire island because of the handling of those corpses. The teacher didn't punish Brother Enel. Similarly, Enel was stunned. He was already ready to be violently beaten by the teacher, and he also knew that he had lost the entire auction, and he should be punished. But the result? Not only did the teacher fail to punish him, but instead said he was not to blame. FCK. What's the situation? Why did the teacher suddenly become so good? It seems that he is a little uncomfortable with this, Enel said to Lin Wuya. Teacher, you should beat me up. I am even more panicked by you. What? You really want to be beaten as a teacher? Lin Wuya was dumbfounded by Enel's appearance. When he used a whip to pound Annie, the kid kept begging for mercy. Now I don't punish him, but let myself beat him. Is this kid looking for abuse? No, no. Enel shook his head repeatedly. It's just that you have been used to being beaten by the teacher, so this time you didn't punish me, the teacher. I'm not used to it. It turned out to be because of this. Lin Wuya smiled and shook his head, and immediately said, "Don't worry. I won't punish you this time, and even if you don't make a move, I will make a move. After all, I think that Celestial Dragons is a bit unhappy." Teacher, what you said is true. Enel looked at Lin Wuya. Really? Lin Wuya smiled and nodded. Hearing this, Enel smiled suddenly, and it seems that the teacher really does not intend to punish him. He thinks too much. At this time, Robin opened his mouth and said, "But sir, this time Brother Enel killed celestial dragons. Naval headquarters should not be surprised to send Marine Admiral here." "It's okay." Lin Wuya smiled and said, "If they want to come, let them come, and as a teacher, I have seen the guys in this department unhappy, and even raised my bounty to 1.5 billion. It's okay if Admiral is not dispatched at the headquarters. If it is dispatched, then even beat them." For Marine, Lin Wuya doesn't actually feel bad. After all, they are all for the purpose of exterminating pirates, and to a certain extent, they are also for the maintenance of world peace. After all, not every pirate is as righteous as the Straw Hat Pirates, and more are some extremely evil people in the poor area, and this amount has almost reached more than 90%. So for Marine, Lin Wuya still has some good feelings, except for some very few guys. Therefore, Lin Wuya did not do anything to Marine during the downhill year. Not even a Marine was killed. Even when facing the siege of 2,000 Marines in Alabasta half a year ago, what Lin Wuya did was only to stun them with Conqueror's Hockey. But now, I'm not going to provoke you, you actually came to provoke me. Moreover, a reward was issued to him, and even if the reward was released, it also increased from 80 million Baileys to 1.5 billion Baileys. The bounty of 1.5 billion Baileys, even if you look at all the pirates of the entire Grand Line and New World, it is estimated that there are not many, and no more than 20 at most. So how does this let Lin Wuya endure? Therefore, Lin Wuya also decided, if those guys in the headquarters dare to come. When one comes, he beats one. Let's two hit one pair. If he can't take care of himself without beating those guys, he is not called Lin Wuya. Even if Garp and Zephyr came, he would beat them together. Those guys in this department are going to be unlucky. Robin was originally worried about the situation they will face next, but now she doesn't think so. She is now worrying about the fellows at Naval Headquarters. Looking at the teacher's expression, she knew that the guys in the department might be out of luck this time. And for this, Robin also roughly guessed the reason. It must be because the teacher was upset that the senior leaders of Naval Headquarters issued a reward to him, and directly raised the reward to 1.5 billion. Robin thought that if he were a teacher, he would be a little annoyed. Sabaody Archipelago, at this moment, has become a mess. The reason is naturally the killing of celestial dragons. On weekdays, if celestial dragons resist a bit, Marine Admiral will be recruited. This time celestial dragons are directly slaughtered. They can't imagine how much the highest combat power will be deployed from the headquarters. 2 Admiral, or 3 Admiral, think carefully. Sabaody Archipelago. Marine Branch Office. Rear Admiral Silk is sitting in his office working with documents. Bang. At this time, the door was violently pushed open, and a seaman rushed in with a panic face. What's so flustered? Silk stopped what was in his hands and asked the seaman. No, it's not good. The seaman said with a panic expression. The dragon St. Charles Roth was killed at the population auction. Click. Silk got up directly from the chair, and his face became extremely shocked. Celestial dragons were killed? When did it happen? Silk asked in shock. Just now. The seaman panicked. Those who ran out of the population auction said, they said celestial dragons, St. Charles, was killed, and there was still no scum left. What? Silk's face changed. Not only was he killed, but there was no scum on his face left. What kind of guy was so cruel? There is another important thing. This seaman is Taoist again. What's the matter? According to people who came out of the population auction, there were 2 people with the guy who killed celestial dragons. One of the 2 was a woman in her early 20s, and the other was a white-haired old gentleman who was about 80 years old. A white-haired, 80-year-old old gentleman. Hearing the description of this marine, a figure suddenly appeared in Silk's mind. That is the old gentleman who was rewarded 1.5 billion by their marine and killed tens of thousands of pirates on the Grand Line. He remembered that the old gentleman seemed to be about the same as the old gentleman that the sea soldier said, and he was also similar in age. No, it's really that old gentleman who gave birth to it. In order to determine whether the person who was with the guy who killed celestial dragons Charles Rose Saint, what Marine said, was the old gentleman who killed him in the Grand Line. Silk asked toward the Marine. Where is the person you just asked? Where is it now? Just outside. Bring him in. After a while, a man was brought in. Silk picked up a reward poster and asked him, I ask you, the old gentleman you saw at the population auction with the guy who killed celestial dragons, is it the person above? The man glanced at the photo on the reward, then nodded and said, yes, it's him. Really that old gentleman? Silk's face changed. Him. How did this killer come to Sabaody Archipelago? Lifting his head, Silk said to the Marine, you lead soldiers to surround the population auction, I will inform the headquarters. Just kill celestial dragons, you have to report to the headquarters. Not to mention that the old man came to Sabaody Archipelago and was with the guy who killed celestial dragons. He had to report to the headquarters even more. Yes. The Marine nodded, and then rushed out of the office, mobilized all the troops of the whole branch, and went to the population auction. As for Silk, he directly contacted the headquarters. Naval Headquarters. Marineford. In the Marshal's office, many high-level officials are discussing some things here at the moment. Including Marshal Sengoku, Garp, Crane, Zephyr, and Marine 3 Admiral Sakazuki, Peluzalino, Kuzan are also here. Blue Brew. At this moment, the phone worm on the table rang suddenly. Sengoku connected the phone worm, and then Silk's anxious voice came from the phone worm. Marshal of the Beijing News. An extremely bad thing happened in Sabaody Archipelago. Celestial Dragon's Charles Rose Saint was killed at the population auction. What? Sengoku stood up from his chair in shock. Celestial dragons were killed? The faces of several other marine executives also changed slightly. Killed celestial dragons? Who is so bold? And it was Sabaody Archipelago below the Holy Land that killed celestial dragons. The 4th one is delivered, and it will continue at night. At the moment, in the meeting room, there was silence, and needles fell. Everyone's face was full of shock. Celestial Dragon's Charles Rose Saint was killed? And it's still Sabaody Archipelago under the Holy Land. Even Garp, who has always regarded celestial dragons as rubbish, frowned slightly. Garp hates celestial dragons, but he also knows the status of celestial dragons and is protected by the world government. Even if he rebels against celestial dragons, he will recruit them Marine Admiral. But now, someone killed celestial dragons. Garp felt happy in his heart, but also a touch of shock. Who on earth would dare to do this? Isn't he afraid of the government? Isn't he afraid of the Marine? But soon, they discovered that the shock had come too early. I saw that the voice of the general of the Saboti Archipelago branch in the phone worm sounded again. There is another important news to report to the marshal. The old man named Lin Wuya, who was offered 1.5 billion Baileys by our Marine and killed tens of thousands of pirates in the first half of the Grand Line a few days ago, he appeared in Saboti Archipelago. And according to people who came out of the Saboti Archipelago population auction, the old gentleman stayed with the guy who killed celestial dragons Charles Rose. As soon as this is said, everyone including Marshal Sengoku and Garp was stunned. The shock was stronger than when learned that celestial dragons had been killed. That old gentleman came to Saboti Archipelago and was with the guy who killed Saint Charles Rose? Isn't it? Is the news true? As if he didn't believe what Silk said, Sengoku asked. It's true. Silk at the end of the phone worm nodded very firmly. And I also showed the old gentleman's reward to the man who ran out of the population auction. He said he offered the old gentleman a reward. As soon as these words came out, the conference room fell silent again. If you can confirm that it is after seeing the reward. That's basically correct. That old gentleman really came to Saboti Archipelago. Huh. Sengoku took a deep breath, but no matter how he inhaled, the BFBA method was always used to calm the turmoil in his heart. This is indeed a bit shocking. The old man came to Saboti Archipelago from the first half of the Grand Line, and he was with the guy who killed celestial dragons. If there is no relationship between the two, then he does not believe it anyway. Sengoku even wondered at this moment whether the old gentleman asked that guy to kill celestial dragons. After all, killing celestial dragons meant that he was going to face them with Marine Admiral. Ordinary people have the guts. Except for the 4 emperors of New World, ordinary people who dare to face them Marine Admiral with such courage. But the old gentleman has. After all, he killed the existence of Edward Bowell, who had severely damaged Zephyr with a single blow, so people with such a terrifying power would naturally not be afraid of them Marine Admiral. Isn't it the way I thought it was? Sengoku frowned. If it is really the same as he thought, then this matter is serious. After all, that old gentleman has a terrifying background, not only has a close relationship with New World's 4 emperors Whitebeard pirates, Red Hair pirates, but also with many forces such as the Revolutionary Army and the Sun Pirates. People with such a terrifying background, even if they Marine can take it, the consequences will not be something that Marine can bear. Because you arrested him, it is tantamount to encountering these forces. Sengoku can imagine what it will be like when their Marine faces these forces at the same time. That is absolutely catastrophic. Regardless of the outcome of this kind of battle, their Marine will surely suffer an unprecedented heavy damage, and this kind of heavy damage will require their Marine to recover from years, even 10, or decades. Garp and Zephyr frowned at the moment. But they and Sengoku think differently, and at the moment they are entangled. Entangled how this old gentleman would commit such a thing. This is celestial dragons. Don't you know that killing him will invite them Marine Admiral? Of course, they knew that even if they dispatched Admiral with that old gentleman's strength, they couldn't help him at all. But they didn't think about this, but the impact of this incident. Killing celestial dragons is equivalent to completely becoming an enemy of the world government. They know how terrifying the world government is. Their Marine is only the facade of the world government. There are many masters in the world government. If the world government makes every effort to capture the old gentleman, even if the old gentleman is strong, it will be inevitable. Old sir. You are so confused, you can't kill celestial dragons even if you kill anyone. The two secretly said in their hearts. At this time, Peluzolino's voice sounded from the conference room. I saw him sitting in a chair and said faintly, Mr. Sengoku. Although the old gentleman is very strong and has a terrifying background, this time, after all, he killed celestial dragons. It is impossible for our Marine to not move. Peluzolino knew that even if the old gentleman didn't instigate that person to kill, he and celestial dragon St. Charles Roth would definitely have nothing to do with him. Sengoku looked at Peluzolino. Are you going? It's not that I want to go. But if no one is going to our headquarters, can you withstand the government? Peluzolino doesn't care if celestial dragons are killed, he cares about his own duty. He doesn't intervene in general things, but for celestial dragons being killed, if their headquarters doesn't take any action, then what they have to endure is the anger on the side of the world government. Okay. Then you go. Sengoku nodded. Indeed. Peluzolino was right. No matter how strong the old gentleman is and how terrifying his background is, this time, after all, it is related to the killing of celestial dragons. Their headquarters should send someone there. Perusalino stood up, and then looked at Sakazuki and Kuzan, who were also sitting in the chairs. You two will also go with me. Facing someone with terrifying power like the old gentleman, don't you? I thought I could handle it alone. Let's go together then. Sakazuki got up from the chair. As for Kuzan, he also stood up. The two followed Pelusalino and left the meeting room. Sakazuki, Pelusalino, Kuzan. It is the first time in marine history to dispatch 3 admiral at a time because of one action. Sakazuki, Pelusalino and Kuzan arrived at the port after leaving the marshal's meeting room. At the port, there is a rear admiral standing. The rear admiral standing here is naturally waiting for the headquarters admiral to dispatch. After all, celestial dragons were killed in the Sabodi archipelago under the Holy Land. Obviously, it is impossible for their headquarters to sit back and watch. However, he who was originally waiting here, his face suddenly became amazed when he saw the figures of Sakazuki, Pelusalino, and Kuzan. Sakazuki Admiral, Pelusalino Admiral, Kuzan Admiral. This time facing the killing of celestial dragons in Sabodi archipelago, all 3 admiral were dispatched. My goodness. After spending so many years in the headquarters, he has never seen anything that would allow all 3 admiral to be dispatched. This can be said to be the first time ever, unprecedented in history. He couldn't help thinking in his heart, is the opponent so terrible this time? He even made the head move 3 admiral. The 3 came to the port, and then they wore a white marine cap on their heads and a justice chief. Sakazuki, who was wearing a burgundy suit inside, looked at rear admiral. Is the boat ready? Already ready. The rear admiral nodded. He has always been very agile in his work. At this moment, he even stutters a bit. Wanting to come all 3, admiral is very shocked to him. But think about it, it is estimated that other people will be like this rear admiral. After all, it is really scary to dispatch 3 admiral at a time. Then let's go. Sakazuki nodded, and then boarded the warship with Kuzan and Pelusalino. The warship started, departed from the headquarters, and headed towards the Sabodi archipelago. Standing on the warship, Sakazuki stared straight ahead. Lin Wuya, I can finally see you in person. Just facing the 3 of us, Admiral, can you have the power to fight? For Lin Wuya, Sakazuki is still very curious. After all, during this period of time, Grand Line and New World are almost all rumors about him, and the same is true for their headquarters. They are talking about Lin Wuya every day. Naturally, Sakazuki's curiosity aroused, so he wanted to see if this old man named Lin Wuya was really as powerful and godlike as the rumors said. Not only Sakazuki, but Pelusalino and Kuzan are also curious about this 80-year-old man named Lin Wuya. They had been listening to rumors about him in the past, but they had never seen it before. Now I can finally see it with my own eyes. Sabodi Archipelago, Shaki's blackmail bar. Shaki frowned at the thought of the news from the population auction. That celestial dragons was killed by the old gentleman, right? Naturally, she didn't want this in her heart, but her instinct told Shaki that in all likelihood, the old man might have done it. After all, Sabodi Archipelago had been calm before this, but after the old man came, it happened that celestial dragons was killed. And it happened just after the old man left her bar, so Shaki didn't want to think about it on the old man. No. I have to tell Rayleigh. Originally Shaki was going to wait for Rayleigh to come back from the coding, and then tell him that the teacher, that is, the old man, came to him, but now Shaki doesn't plan to do that. She knows that if Celestial Dragons is killed, Admiral will definitely be dispatched from the headquarters, and there may even be more than one. After all, the strength of the old man is terrifying, and since Marine is offering a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys to the old man, Shaki knows that Naval Headquarters must also know that the old man is very strong. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible for Naval Headquarters to increase the bounty of the old gentleman to 1.5 billion Baileys just by protecting Nico Robin in Alabasta against CP9, the World Government Intelligence Agency organization. And Admiral of the Headquarters is probably on the way now. So Shaki felt it necessary to inform Rayleigh of this matter. After all, the old man is Rayleigh's teacher. The teacher is in trouble. If Rayleigh, who is a disciple, doesn't know, then Rayleigh will definitely blame himself afterwards. So Shaki didn't even think about it, but left her blackmail bar and headed to the Rayleigh-coded port. Population auction site. At this moment, there are already a lot of Marines gathered here, with thousands of people. They surrounded the population auction site with guns in their hands. Silk was standing right in front of these Marines. He looked at the population auction house surrounded by groups and asked a Marine soldier beside him, "Are they there?" "Yes." Silk Rear Admiral, the Marine nodded. "I got it." Silk nodded. At this time, the seaman asked, "Silk Rear Admiral, Are we going to fire? No. Silk shook his head. The opponent's strength is too strong, our firepower can't deal with them at all. What we have to do now is to surround the area. Don't let the opponent escape. Wait for the admiral of the headquarters to come. Silk Rear Admiral. Is the opponent so strong? We have 5,000 troops here, and we can't deal with it. The Marine asked in shock. Do you know who is inside? Silk said to him. Who? The Marine soldier asked subconsciously. Lin Wuya. The old gentleman who was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by our Marine and killed him in the first half of the Grand Line. Silk said the identity of the other party. No. The Marine's face changed. The expressions of the other seamen beside Silk also changed. It turned out to be the old gentleman in the auction room. My goodness. That's a killer. Legend has it that in the first half of the Grand Line, the old man killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. So don't think that we have a lot of 3,000 troops. In front of such a terrifying opponent, 3,000 troops is just a joke. Silk didn't continue speaking after saying this, but instead looked at the quiet population auction in front of him. He now only hopes that Admiral from his headquarters can come quickly. As for their 5,000 troops, it is not enough to stuff the old gentleman's teeth. Tianlong was killed. Saboti Archipelago was already in chaos at the moment, and the pirates who were originally in Saboti Archipelago fled frantically. Kidding. Admiral of headquarters is coming soon. How dare they not run away, even if the people weren't killed by them, but they are pirates after all. If Marine Admiral is unhappy and puts them in a pot, then they really don't even have a place to cry go somewhere. That's why they learned that after celestial dragons had been killed, their first thought was to escape here. The farther and farther they escaped. As for the dream of New World, they were all thrown out of their minds at this moment. Life is gone, and what dreams are there to talk about? The current task is still important to keep a small life. Looking around, we can see that around Saboti Archipelago, many pirates have boarded the boats, and after the boats were launched to escape from Saboti Archipelago. Of course, this is only a part of the pirates, and many pirates have not left Saboti Archipelago, and these pirates are also more courageous, are stronger, and the bounty is basically 80 million, or even higher, billion Bailey. Among them, there are 3 more famous pirate groups during this period. Mad Lion Pirates, Captain Raymond. Kula Pirates, Captain Kula. Berries Pirates, Captain Berries. The captains of these 3 pirate groups are all pirates with a bounty of more than 100 million yuan. Their status in the Grand Line today is similar to the supernova in the original book. Gee ha 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 ha. What a group of timid guys. I was so scared to hear that Marine Admiral was about to come, so I want to go to New World with my guts. With a burly muscle and holding a large flagon, the Captain Raymond of the Mad Lion Pirate Group laughed loudly. On the other side, the Kura Pirates. With a hideous scar on his face and 2 long knives on his waist, Kura grinned and said, "It's just that Marine Admiral is coming. Are you so scared?" Barry's Pirate Ship. Captain Barry's is a man with wild red hair and a black coat. He carried a meteor hammer and said with a smile, "Marine Admiral is coming. It's not a pity." Outside the population auction site, Marine blocked the water surrounding it. Robin in the auction house naturally felt this, and immediately said to Lin Wuya, "Teacher, it seems that the outside is surrounded by Marine. Are we breaking through or are we now?" "No need." Lin Wuya smiled faintly. Before Marine Admiral came, they didn't dare to take action. Besides, there is one more thing left. After speaking, Lin Wuya looked at the shivering man standing on the auction stage at the moment, and then walked towards him. The reason for looking for him is because of the identity of this guy and the owner of this auction house. Since this auction house is an industry owned by Doflamingo, naturally, as the owner of this auction house, it is impossible for him to have no contact with Doflamingo. "Don't kill me." The man named Disco, with childlike eyes and a weird dress, knelt down directly after seeing Lin Wuya walking towards him. "Don't worry. I won't kill you." Lin Wuya smiled at him and said, "I'm looking for you, just want you to do something for me." "What's the matter?" Disco looked at Lin Wuya tremblingly, with a scared expression on his face. "Your boss should be Doflamingo. Give him a message for me, saying that an old gentleman will visit him later." "Okay. I will bring my message to you." The Disco nodded repeatedly. On the side, Robin smiled faintly. It turned out that the teacher's purpose was this. After explaining the matter, Lin Wuya walked down from the auction stage and looked outside the auction room. "Calculate the time Marine Admiral should be here. Let's go out to meet them." "Yes, teacher." Enel and Robin nodded, and then followed Lin Wuya out of the population auction. Outside the population auction hall, Silk Rear Admiral, who was standing in front of the team, suddenly changed his face after seeing the 3 figures walking out of the auction hall. It's out. It can be said that this is the last thing Silk wants to see. After all, their 5,000 troops can't deal with this old gentleman. Not to mention that there are 2 people accompanying the old man, they can't deal with it. As for the 2 people beside this old gentleman, one of them, Silk also knew. Nico Robin, O'Hara's demon, appeared in Alabasta half a year ago, and then left Alabasta with this old gentleman. It was rumored that she was a disciple of this old gentleman. As for the other person, although he hadn't seen it and looked strange, he knew from the population sent by the previous population auction that this person should be the one who killed celestial dragons Charles Rose Saint. And dare to kill celestial dragons, I think it should be a terrible character. In addition, CP9 has caught Nico Robin, who hasn't been caught for more than 10 years, and an old gentleman who is several times more terrifying than the 2 of them. Just looking at Silk, his heart trembled. Lin Wuya did not break through after walking out of the auction, but instead stopped and saw him raise his right hand. At the next moment, a chair flew out of the auction hall and fell just behind Lin Wuya. Then, in the shocked eyes of Silk, the 5,000 Marines present, and the pirates around Saboti Archipelago who have not left to look at here. Lin Wuya directly sat down. You read that right. Just sit down. Sit down. Silk's stunned boss, and the same with the 5,000 Marines around him, was stunned by the scene in front of him. Knowing that their Marine Admiral was coming, they could still be so calm, and sat down without chaos, and they were still surrounded by their Marine Admiral of 5,000 troops. Is this old man in a good mood, or is he not afraid of Admiral at all? Silk wanted to be the former, but his inner sanity told him. Not. It's not that this old gentleman has a good mentality, but that he is really not afraid of Admiral at their home. He is sitting here, waiting for Admiral from their headquarters to come. Horrified. Shocked. Incredible. All kinds of emotions piled up in the hearts of Rear Admiral Silk and the 5,000 seamen present. They had never thought about it, and did not dare to think about it. Facing their headquarters, Admiral, someone could be so calm. And I found a chair and sat down. Similarly, on some buildings around the auction site, the pirates who stayed here were also shocked. This old man has a good mentality too. It is estimated that most people will run away directly at this time. After all, it is not some small characters from naval headquarters, but Admiral. Admiral, the headquarters of Marine, is known as the most powerful existence of Marine. It is a guy who can compete with 4 emperors. However, instead of running away, the old man sat down calmly in a circle surrounded by 5,000 Marines. With this mentality, even the pirates who licked their blood on the cutting edge could not help but exclaim. In addition to marveling, there is admiration. Admire the courage of this old gentleman, not right. Wait. Old man? Suddenly, all the pirates had their eyes widened. No one. Because they remember that the person who was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by Marine and killed in the first half of the Grand Line a few days ago seems to be an old gentleman, right? No, isn't it the old gentleman? They swallowed, and then took out a reward poster one after another. This reward is naturally Lin Wuya's reward, which is as high as 1.5 billion Baileys. They glanced at the photo on the reward, and then they looked at the old man sitting in the chair in the Marine 5,000 Marine encirclement. At a certain moment, when the 2 faces overlapped perfectly, their shocked mouths were long bosses, and the hands holding the reward poster also tremble. Yes, it's him. The old gentleman who killed 40,000 pirates in 6 hours. My God. It's really that old gentleman. He is a killer god. He actually came to Saboti Archipelago. It's no wonder that you can face Marine Admiral in the face of danger. It turned out to be this old gentleman. Indeed, with the strength of this old gentleman, he is really not afraid of Admiral of Headquarters. I can't believe it. It turned out to be that old gentleman sitting there. It was really shocking. After the shock, there was a wave of exclamation. These pirates looked at Lin Wuya, who was sitting in the 5,000 power encirclement of Marine, in amazement. Who would have thought that sitting there turned out to be the old man named Lin Wuya who killed the first half of the Grand Line a few days ago? This is really shocking. After a long time, they have not calmed down yet. It's really because it was too shocking. In the past, they had only heard the rumors about this old gentleman, but they didn't expect to have arrived with their own eyes now, and they were only 50 meters away. My goodness. In the Mad Lion pirate group, the Captain Raymond held a large flagon, but at this moment he did not drink like before, but stared scorchingly at the Lin Wuya sitting in the Marine encirclement. I didn't expect to meet such a big man. Unbelievable. Not far from the Mad Lion pirates is the Kula pirates, with a hideous scar on their face, and a trace of cold sweat appeared on Kula's forehead with 2 long knives on his waist. It won't really be he? Although they are the supernova of this era, they are undoubtedly incomparable with this old gentleman. 40,000 pirates. Just thinking about Kula's heart is a burst of face. How strong is this, and how fast it can kill so many people in 6 hours? And to the right of the Kura pirates is the Berries pirates. Like Raymond and Kula, Berries, who has wild red hair, a black coat, and a meteor hammer, can't help but show a cold sweat on his forehead. Similarly, my heart was shocked. The old gentleman who killed himself on the Grand Line came to Saboti Archipelago and sat on the chair 50 meters away. Boat captain. Are we leaving? At this time, the men of the three pirate groups asked the three of them. The words asked are all consistent. And Raymond, Kura, and Berries also gave the same answers. They saw the three of them staringly said, "What are you going for?" Such a terrifying old gentleman appeared in Saboti Archipelago and killed celestial dragons. How can such a scene be missed? Also, Admiral of Headquarters is coming. This scene where the old gentleman and Headquarters Admiral are playing is a rare encounter in 1,000 years. I'm afraid we will never see such a scene in our entire life, so we have to watch it before leaving. Saboti Archipelago, coding area. At this moment, an old man wearing a cloak and glasses is standing here. The old man has a long slender scar at the corner of his eyes. That's right. It was Rayleigh. Since Roger surrendered and the Roger Pirates disbanded, Rayleigh was the Golden Basin to wash his hands. He came to Saboti Archipelago, became a coder. In his spare time, he coats the boats and occasionally robs some merchants to get some money. It's just that, at the moment he was coating his brows were frowning, and the reason for his frowning was the pirates who set sail and left Saboti Archipelago in front of him. Is this film half-plated? Why are these guys leaving? What happened to Saboti Archipelago? Step on. Rayleigh was wondering. At this moment, a rush of footsteps suddenly came from behind. Rayleigh turned around, and when he saw Shaki came, he suddenly laughed. "It's you, Shaki. How come you have time to come to me? Besides, do you know what's going on with those guys? I haven't finished the coding, they just sailed away. Did this happen?" "Yes. Something happened, and it was about your teacher." Shaki took a few breaths and said to Rayleigh, "Your teacher, he came to Saboti Archipelago, and he killed the celestial dragons at the population auction." As soon as Shaki said this, Rayleigh's face was suddenly startled. What? The teacher came to Saboti Archipelago? Killed the celestial dragons? Shock accumulated in Rayleigh's heart, but soon the emotion turned into ecstasy. Did the teacher come to Saboti Archipelago? Regarding killing celestial dragons, Rayleigh didn't care. As the former deputy captain of Roger Pirates, Rayleigh has been to Raftel, the final island, so he knows the ugliness of celestial dragons. Killed that kind of garbage. What he cares about is the teacher. Did the teacher come to him? As for the reason why the teacher came here, Rayleigh doesn't need to guess, he should be here. After all, he is the chief disciple of the teacher. A flash of excitement flashed in his eyes, and then Rayleigh looked at Shaki. "Shaki, where is the teacher now?" Shaki replied, "At the population auction site. Now it should be surrounded by marine." A population auction house. When Shaki said that the teacher was at the population auction, Rayleigh's face was immediately happy, but the words Shaki said afterwards made Rayleigh's eyes suddenly sink. "Why teacher? Seek death, you guys. How can my Pluton teacher be surrounded by you guys?" "Rayleigh, do you want to go there now?" Shaki asked Rayleigh. "Yeah." Rayleigh nodded. "The teacher is here, I will naturally go." After that, Rayleigh gave Shaki the tool for coding before, and he took out a knife hidden in the tool for coding. This knife is a famous knife used by Rayleigh when he accompanies Roger across the sea. The knife is 4 feet long and has a white blade. One of the 21 bows of the big sharp knife, its name, Mingyue. Rayleigh has kept it in dust since the Golden Basin washed his hands, and has never used it once. But this time, Rayleigh took it out. Taking out Mingyue, Rayleigh was not to solve those creeps, but to deal with the coming troubles. The teacher killed celestial dragons, Marine Admiral should be almost there. As a disciple, he naturally can't let these guys disturb the teacher. Even if he knows that the teacher is not afraid of any admiral, he does not want the teacher to take action. Marine Admiral will be dealt with by his big disciple. "Teacher, you just need to sit on the sidelines." With Mingyue inserted around his waist, Rayleigh's aura also changed. At this moment, he is no longer the coder of Saboti Archipelago, but the Pluton who once made countless pirates tremble in New World. "Shaki, I'll leave these things to you, I'll go to the teacher." "Yeah. Go. Brush." As soon as his body moved, Rayleigh disappeared in the coding area. "I hope it won't be too cruel this time." Looking at the disappearing Rayleigh, Shaki secretly said inwardly. When Rayleigh went to the population auction site, the naval headquarters warship also came to Saboti Archipelago. At the forefront of the warship are 3 men dressed in justice. 3 Admiral Sakazuki, Paluzalino, Kuzan, Saboti Archipelago port. There are many pirates here at the moment. These people are preparing to escape from Saboti Archipelago. They knew that Admiral of Headquarters was coming. If they didn't run away before Marine Admiral came, they would definitely die in 9 deaths. After all, Marine Admiral is Marine's highest combat power. Any one of the 3 Admiral can destroy a country. Facing the existence of that kind of horror, they naturally did not dare to stay here, and their strength was not enough to stuff Marine Admiral's teeth. However, as soon as they arrived at the port, a huge Marine warship appeared in their sight. Suddenly, these pirates who wanted to take a boat out trembled in their hearts. See. Naval Headquarters is coming. And the Naval Headquarters fleet appeared, then they knew that Marine Admiral should be standing on the ship. See Marine Admiral. Thinking of this, the hearts of these pirates suddenly trembled. Then they raised their heads and looked at the front of the warship, but this look almost scared them away. Marine 3 Admiral Kizaru, Marine 3 Admiral Akainu, Marine 3 Admiral Aokiji. This time Celestial Dragons was killed. Naval Headquarters dispatched 3 Admiral at once. My goodness. Does this mean to ruin the Saboti archipelago? Flee. Flee, 3 Admiral are here, quickly run away. Faced with a Marine Admiral, they were all terrified, and now 3 Admiral came, where these pirates dare to stay here. One by one fled here in a panic, and many pirates even dived directly into the sea in fright. In short, it is an idea. Escape. The farther you escape, the better. Standing on the warship, Sakazuki, Paluzolino, and Kuzan did not care about the pirates who fled, or even glanced at them. In their eyes, these pirates are all small ones, who can't make a big wave, they ran away. Their goal this time is the old gentleman. Go. Sakazuki whispered something, then stepped on the deck with both feet, and then the whole person disappeared on the warship. This Sakazuki is really impatient. The boat went before it stopped. Paluzolino smiled wryly. However, even though he said that, at the moment he saw Sakazuki disappear, Paluzolino was also directly elementalized, turning into a light and shooting into the Saboti archipelago. Are you so impatient? Then I'll go over too. Brush. After saying this, Kuzan's figure also disappeared from the warship. Outside the population auction, Lin Wuya was sitting in a chair leisurely, Enel and Robin were standing on both sides. As for the 5,000 sea soldiers in front of, Lin Wuya didn't put them in his eyes. These little soldiers could solve them with just one look as long as he was willing. It's just that he didn't do it, his target was Marine's Admiral. If you fight against Celestial Dragons on weekdays, Admiral will be recruited, so if you kill a Celestial Dragon this time, how many Admiral will come? Lin Wuya is looking forward to it. The breeze blows, bringing up green leaves. At a certain moment, when 3 powerful auras appeared at Saboti archipelago and quickly approached here, the corner of Lin Wuya's mouth sitting on the chair suddenly stretched. Oh. 3 came unexpectedly, it's kind of interesting. Negative. Rayleigh's knife was created by Little Wolf. After all, Pluton is a great swordsman, so he must have a big sharp knife. Oh. 3 came. It's interesting. Outside the population auction site, Lin Wuya, sitting in a chair, felt the breath of these 3 roads quickly approaching here. These 3 breaths are different. Among them are hot like magma, severe cold like ice, and the 3rd breath is also the fastest, with a dazzling sensation and a trace of wretchedness. Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji. Based on the breath of the 3 of them, Lin Wuya basically determined the identity of the other party. The current Admiral of Headquarters, and not 1 or 2. It's 3. Naval Headquarters, the top 3 Admiral players, are here. I thought there would only be 2 Admiral at most, but I didn't expect 3 of them. The corner of Lin Wuya's mouth twitched. This is indeed something he didn't expect. After all, each of the Admiral of Naval Headquarters can easily destroy a country's existence. Even the 2 Lin Wuya who came here felt a bit exaggerated, but this time because Celestial Dragons were killed, all 3 Admiral were dispatched. Quoting Kizaru's words, "It's terrible, is it because of me?" If was simply killed because of Celestial Dragons, Lin Wuya knew that Naval Headquarters would definitely not dispatch all 3 Admiral at once. Therefore, Lin Wuya only thought of one possibility. That is when Marine knew that he had come to Saboti archipelago, and he was also with Enel who had killed Celestial Dragons. As for how to know, Lin Wuya roughly guessed that it should be Marine of Saboti archipelago who learned from the population that ran out of the population auction, and then reported it to the Naval Headquarters high-level side. When he went to the population auction before, he was with Enel and Robin, and he also sat with him when he went in. So people at the population auction know that it is normal for him to be with Enel. Even the people who ran out of the population auction did not recognize him, but if he tells Marine his specific appearance, then Marine must be able to guess that it is him. After all, he was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by Marine. There was also a considerable wave on the Grand Line, killing tens of thousands of pirates. Therefore, he will definitely be associated with the who offered a reward of 1.5 billion and killed him on the Grand Line. As for the next operation, Lin Wuya roughly guessed it. After thinking that it might be him, he would definitely give out his reward for the person who ran out of the population auction to confirm. After such an operation, his identity was basically determined, and then he was notified to the headquarters. Then 3 Admiral took the initiative. Squirting. I didn't expect that Naval Headquarters dispatched 3 Admiral to deal with an old man like me. It's terrible. Lin Wuya shook his head, and then got up from the chair. But it doesn't matter. It's better to have 3 Admiral here, so that he can beat a few more. To you Marine, this bad old man is very annoyed. I dare to offer me a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys. The 3 of you Admiral who cannot be beaten today cannot take care of themselves. The 3 breaths quickly approached, and finally appeared right in front of Marine. Condensed yellow light, Paluzolino. Lava emerges, Sakazuki. The cold wind blows, Kuzan. 3 Admiral from Naval Headquarters. All around, the pirates staying on the building changed their expressions when the 3 Kizaru, Akainu, and Aokiji appeared. My goodness. In order to deal with this old man, Naval Headquarters even dispatched 3 Admiral. Mad Lion Pirates. With a large hip flask in his hand, Raymond's eyes flickered with shock. It's really shocking. The 3 Admiral Naval Headquarters were all dispatched. Kura Pirates. With a scar on his face and 2 long knives hanging around his waist, Kura was also shocked. It's really too shocking. In the past, people shot celestial dragons, and Naval Headquarters usually only dispatched 1 Admiral. 3 came here this time. It's unbelievable. Barry's Pirates. With long red hair, wearing a black coat and holding a meteor hammer, Barry said, I really can't believe it. But to a certain extent, I can see the importance of Marine to this old gentleman. Face him 3 times. Admiral, even 4 Emperors probably won't have this treatment. Although the 3 of them all looked shocked, but in the depths of that shock, there was more fanaticism. Facing the 3 highest Marine Admiral, what will this old gentleman do? Is it to escape? Still tough. Behind Lin Wuya, Enel looked at the 3 of Sakazuki, Paluzolino, and Kuzan who appeared here, and asked Robin, Sister Robin, are they the Admiral of the headquarter? Yeah. The current Naval Headquarters 3 Admiral Sakazuki, Paluzolino, Kuzan, nicknamed Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji. Robin nodded, and then said the identities of the 3 of them one by one. 3 Admiral. Interesting. Hearing what Robin said, a flash of interest flashed in Enel's eyes. On the way, although he killed a lot of pirates, but those pirates are very powerful, basically it is a second move. Now that Admiral, the highest combat power of Naval Headquarters, is here, and there are still 3 Admiral, Enel is naturally a little ready to move. In his opinion, since it is Marine's highest combat power, Admiral, then the strength should be very strong. Fighting with them should be very exciting. Enel doesn't matter whether his opponent is a pirate or Marine, as long as the target is a teacher, even Marine Admiral will be attacked. Robin looked at Enel's excited expression, and immediately reminded, Brother Enel, wait if you fight, don't be careless, because each of the 3 of them is very strong, and like you are Logia capable people. Robin is not like Enel. She knows how strong Marine Admiral is. It is an existence that can compete with 4 Emperors. Don't worry, junior sister Robin, I won't be careless. Enel grinned. Seeing Enel like this, Robin shook his head. He didn't know if senior brother Enel listened to her.